Take three. Okay. I had a thought. I've seen videos that say in during the healing journey, we're really just working to get back to our 13-year-old selves, the interests, the ways that we expressed ourselves, and get back to that type of energy as an adult. And now, being at this point in my journey, I get it. I get it because it's not necessarily about, for me at least, it's not necessarily about like physical, tangible interests. It is because I have been getting back to actual interests of mine at that age as well. But it's mostly just about the energy that I was in, how I expressed myself, how I carried myself, the confidence that I had at that age, even amidst gossip and amidst lies, right? It's crazy to think back and think about how dialed in and tuned in with myself that I am, that I step out of it for a second and I realize, oh shit, like people are watching and talking. And I had a few of those moments as a teenager where, I was just living my life, and then I would catch wind of the reputation that I may have obtained from my actions, and it would shake me a little bit, but ultimately it didn't change me or change anything that I was really doing, right? And the beautiful thing about the healing journey is that now I've had a chance to really sit with the nuances of my experience and understand that although some of my actions and behaviors very well were trauma responses, a lot of it was also me and who I am and just an air of confidence, right? Because when I was younger, I did have confidence. I was confident. I knew I was smart. I knew I was beautiful. And I owned it unapologetically, unapologetically owned it. And I now understand that it is that energy that I am now getting back to, but from a more mature, wiser standpoint. I now understand boundaries. I now understand better communication, having better communication skills, emotional intelligence. I understand my own trauma now. So I understand when something is invoked, or something is a trigger for me, and why it's a trigger for me. And then how to navigate that trigger so that it doesn't hinder me from living my best life and existing in the way that I want to exist in the world, right? That's what this is all about. And this moment in life for me is me reclaiming my divine femininity, because all of the things about myself that I learned to suppress and I learned to shy away from were my divine femininity. I was tapped in to my sensuality and my femininity in a way and at a time that was seen as fast, seen as not ladylike, et cetera, right? And like I said, I understand that certain behaviors absolutely were trauma responses. But underneath all of that, I was always meant to be a free woman, a wild woman. And I never allowed how other people made me feel to stop me from doing what I wanted to do. So I'm getting back to that now. And I'm excited. And it's so fun because when you really start to like relax into the feminine energy, into your feminine energy, and you allow yourself to be in a receptive energy, and you really stop and you really just allow the universe to work for you, you start to see how the universe will work out for you. And it's not a secret. It's always been that's always been the case in my life. I've always things have always just worked out for me how they are meant to work out for me in my favor. And now it's just me owning it, instead of it just being like a thing, like, oh, I'm so grateful. And yes, I'm grateful, but it's expected now. It's like I walk in that way now. And I am flexible and I'm able to pivot and I'm able to like handle the stress of life a little bit better. But ultimately, I am getting back to that boy crazy 13-year-old girl who crushed hard and flirted even harder and just had a good time and engaged in play and used her feminine wiles and was just a girl. I'm just a girl. I'm just a girl. And I'm getting back to that energy. I'm getting back to that energy. I stopped dating for a little bit. Now I realize, okay, I want to date now. I have more wisdom. I understand boundaries. I understand myself more. I understand my traumas more, my triggers, things like that. Even reconnecting with old past relationships in a way that's completely different now, because I'm able to now voice like, this is what I want. I don't want to live my life like this. I want to live my life like this. And if you are okay with how I want to live my life and feel like you can be a great addition to my life and would like to be a great addition to my life, then you can be in my life. But if you do not agree with how I live my life and how I choose to live freely and be, that's okay. That's your right to do. But I'm not changing who I am, and I'm not suppressing my desires anymore for anybody. I want to live my life the way I want to live my life. And I know that it will ultimately lead me to abundance, more and more abundance. Because if you don't love the life you live in, it's pretty hard to call in abundance if you can't even appreciate what's already there. So I think that I had to get to this point now where I'm like, okay, I'm going to create the life that I want so that I can love my life, so that I can continue calling in abundance and calling in more things that I love and just being present in it. If you're not present in your life, you trying to dissociate, or you're dissociating a lot. And I still dissociate sometimes. I still have an issue with that sometimes, but I mean, and I still experience anxiety and bad days and all of that. It's not to say that you get to this place and everything is just like easy going, breezy, flowy. The the test is nurturing yourself through those hard moments, nurturing yourself through those moments, those moments that feel bad, that you may slip back and feel and sit in the shame for a little bit, and sit in some shame, or get caught up in the narrative of doubt, or whatever it was is whatever the mind may be saying. But I have cultivated and gathered enough tools over the last few years in my healing journey to be able to navigate those experiences. with more grace for myself and more love and compassion and care, which ultimately guides you out of that energy a lot smoother than resistance and shame and negativity and negative self-talk and all of these different things, perfectionism. it's harder to it's harder to let the crashes of the waves die down when you are being shitty to yourself, talking shitty to yourself, making yourself feel bad, making yourself feel like you um aren't good enough, making yourself feel like you're crazy, or shunning yourself just for the natural desires that you have inside of you because of what someone else has said. You know, it's harder to navigate the storms of life when that is what's happening in your mind and in your energetic field. So I had to do the work to flip it to where the default mode is not negative self-talk, shame. It is it is compassion, it is patience, it is care, it is love, it is nurturing. That being the default settings that I am ran by. And it took some time, but it's well worth the work. Well worth the work, honey. Okay. And yeah, I wanted to talk about that. And it's so crazy because as a teenager and as a child, I navigated so much that I didn't realize was heavy at the time, right? Because, like I said, I grew up in a dysfunctional family, right? Yes. Like I said, I grew up in a dysfunctional family and in chaos, essentially. And so the little stuff that I was dealing with at school amongst, here you go, baby, amongst my peers didn't bother me as much because I had to go home to like an energy that was worse in my, I guess, in my eyes to that. You know what I mean? But looking back on it, there was a lot of gossiping about me. There was a lot of gossiping about me. There was a lot of lies about me. Um, yeah, different things that I've grown to feel like it's was normal, I guess, to experience those things at that age. And yes, to a certain extent, when you're in school and you're a young person, um, you're going to experience some type of friction. That's just a part of growing up. That's a part of being in social settings, etc. But like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just a sensitive girl. Stuff this shit was kind of mean, low key. And I was like also like I remember when I was in my junior year of high school and I was with this guy, my high school sweetheart, and he had a best friend who was also a girl. And at first it didn't bother me. At first it didn't bother me, but then I started seeing things that and it made me uncomfortable. It made me uncomfortable. Granted, I probably didn't understand how to communicate this properly at the time, but it made me uncomfortable. Um Fast forward, that discomfort essentially basically led to our breakup with me and the guy. And not too long after, guess what happened? They got together. And on one hand, this is like, yeah, this is high school drama. But on another hand, imagine being a 16-year-old and having your first heartbreak in front of the whole fucking school, and then that same guy starts dating the best friend that he claimed had there was nothing going on with them, and I was also publicly like being upset because I this is the age of Twitter, golden age of Twitter. So I was tweeting when I didn't need to be tweeting, and it was just like very visible. And I guess I didn't realize how visible I was because I'm so focused on myself. I'm so focused on my and on my life, my energy, my shit. I'm not really just like, you know what I mean? That's just not how my brain works. I'm not picking up on the outside energies as much. And as in hindsight, there was definitely some outside energy and like just in general things that were tough to experience as at that age. It was tough, but it was also kind of like a rites of passage. I was a teenager, it was teenage stuff, you know what I mean? But I'm getting back to that teenage girl. Essentially, that's all I'm here to say is I'm getting back to her. You know what I mean? I feel shame for being boy crazy. I like boys. I like men now as a adult. I like men, and I'm no longer shamed about it. I like to flirt, no longer shamed about it. I like sex, I like pleasure, no longer shamed about it. And also at a point now in my life where I understand the importance of having choosing the right partners and choosing the right people to be in intimate relationships with. So although I do like sex and I do like pleasure, it doesn't mean that I'm just gonna have sex with anybody and everybody. Now, if I wanted to, that's also my God-given grown ass woman right. You know what I mean? But I've been dibbling and dabbling in the idea of polyamory, solo polyamory, as far as like not wanting to be I don't want to say restricted because that's not the right language. I don't want to I don't want in this time of my life to only be with one person and commit. I don't that doesn't feel right to me. So I've been um experimenting with the idea of solo polyamory, which basically means like I am me and I have multiple partners. Essentially, I'm making my dream of having multiple boyfriends come true, and it is fucking fantastic. It's fun. It's fun. But the thing is, though, this ain't for the faint of heart. This ain't for the faint at heart. I've done a lot of growth work. I've done a lot of healing work. I've done a lot of maturing. And I understand that this is also going to take a lot of growth out of me on my part as well. It ain't, I'm not just, oh, I like sex and oh, I want to have multiple boyfriends and I just want to do whatever the fuck I want. It ain't like that. It ain't like that. It's deeper than that. But I understand that this will take a lot of growth on my part, a lot of looking at myself, healing myself, sitting with my feelings, being responsible for myself and my emotions, and not relying on somebody else to be responsible for myself and my emotions. Because I'm no longer taking up that responsibility for anybody else anymore. Obviously, when you're in an intimate relationship and you're in a committed relationship and partnership with somebody, whether it's monogamous or non monogamous, obviously you want to be responsible to you're responsible to that person for to a certain extent because you chose that person. So you in choosing that person, you're choosing some responsibility for them, and I understand that. um so I understand that it's going to be a balance, it's going to be a give and take, finding the sweet spot, figuring out what the harmony it will feel like for me. But that's the exciting part in this journey, is that I guess to just experiment and explore and find out what works for me, what doesn't work for me, what serves me, what doesn't serve me. You know what I mean? And because I can. You know what I mean? Like there are no rules. I don't have to listen to the rules of society that I have to get married and have to have kids and have to settle down. Like I'm still on the fence about whether or not I want to have kids. And that is okay. Like I am beautiful and young and successful and taking care of myself and building myself up, doing the work on myself so that I can create the life that I want for myself. And loving it so much now, in my peace and my solitude and being alone, having my home to myself and my animals, and, you know, introducing people that I deem are worthy to be a part of that, that are only going to add to my peace and not take away from it. I am reclaiming a whole lot this season of my life now. Hi, I'm on the other side of the quantum leap. I'm here now. Uh, so yeah, stay tuned. I'll probably be talking more about um being a baby solo poly girl, and what I learn along the way, what I don't learn along the way, or what I learn along the way, what works, what doesn't work for me, etc., etc. And yeah, if you want to be one of them boyfriends, just hit me up. I'll take a look at your application. But that's about it. I just wanted to talk about that and kind of just like cement in time and in space where I am in my process and in my journey right now. And I'm about to go take me a hot bath. It's 11:30 at night. That's the beauty of doing what the fuck I want. 11:30 at night, almost midnight, I'm about to take a hot bath because I can. Because I have the freedom to move in that way. Because I deserve to. Because this is how I'm living. Free, flowing, provided for, taken care of. And that's on divine feminine energy. Get you some. Mm-hmm. But that's it. Let me go take my bath, honey.